It's an interesting question, and I think, first of all, we're very fortunate in Miami, because Miami's audience is very heterogeneous. It's not homogenized at all. We're not white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. We're African Americans, we're Cubans, we're Venezuelans, we're Brazilians, we're Argentinians. We're coming from a variety of places and cultures, and so we're receptive to something other than what you were referring to as cookie cutter films. More so than other cities in the United States. You know, everybody used to say that Miami was a melting pot and kind of a harbinger of what was going to happen in the future to other cities in the country, and perhaps that is the case. But just like we suffer the slings and arrows of our diversity, we also benefit from it. And one of the benefits that we derive from this cultural mix is reflected in our offerings, and certainly film being very prominent. Again, when I started, it was me by my lonesome. The chains would very seldom play something foreign in a commercial theater unless it became the film of the year. The one that would go on to win the Oscar or something. Anyways, it made it possible for me to thrive. They were so rare. It's no longer the case. There are 6 or 7 art screens in town, and I don't think any of them are imperiled, especially because they have big institutions supporting them, or public-minded individuals in the case of Coral Gables Art Cinema. But we have a privileged situation here in Miami that other cities in the United States, other cities that are not New York or LA, where it's a dicier proposition, and the further you go into the woods, the dicier it becomes. Strangely enough, I wouldn't necessarily have to become a film exhibitor today because of streaming and digital media. The films I want to see, and any film really that has been made, you can find someplace or another if you look hard enough for it, even through collectors. And so you don't need to go into exhibition to feed your passion for movies. And even though films are so readily accessible, they're not as sought after as you would think. And I think that has to do perhaps with the variety of offerings, the barrage of media advertising, where everything is focused just on one title, and not so much on the infinite variety. And I still think I would like to see more and more courses in film education in the schools. I don't think Latin jazz, for example, is as exciting as it was at the time that I wrote the dictionary. And I wrote it in 1996 and published it 2 years later. I don't think it's as exciting. I think I could count with the fingers of one hand the real innovators today, perhaps 2 hands, being generous. But there are a lot of people that are just repeating things that were done before over and over and over and over again, so that it becomes a cliche rather than an art form. So, long story short, I probably would not write a dictionary of Latin jazz in 2018, or at least I wouldn't find it as exciting or as cutting edge as I did 20 years ago.